Hi everyone, welcome back to my vlog. I'm Robin, or Hobbit's Reading List. I don't have a plan this week. I'm done with school, and now I'm adjusting. So we're just gonna be reading. And I've already made some great progress on that. So let's get right into it. All of last week's vlog, I was saying that I'm going to read Olympus to, get another book done. And I didn't do it in last week's vlog. I did, however, do it yesterday. So I read Olympus Volume 3, which is, about Persephone getting shown around the underworld by Hades. Let me back up. Let me back up. Olympus is a graphic web comic that is a Hades and Persephone retelling. The world of the gods is like modern times, but the mortal realm is still like ancient Greece. We don't see a ton of the mortal realm because a lot of it's happening around like Olympus and everything. So, but it's so interesting. And like Hades and Persephone like run into each other at a club, and Hades is very attracted to her, and then they sort of just keep coming together. And Persephone is, she went to Olympus as like she got like a scholarship to go to school, and the scholarship came from like I forget what it's called. Essentially, it's a group of goddesses that have pledged to be eternal maidens. So that's Hestia, Athena, Artemis, and now Persephone, and there might be others. Persephone is living with Artemis, and in the first or second volume, I don't remember which one it happens in, Persephone is assaulted by Apollo. And so that, it has an impact throughout a lot of the volumes. I have read the webcomic. I've read a lot of it, but I think it's been updated, so I don't think I've read all of it, but I'm slowly getting like the volumes. So in volume 3, Persephone is still dealing with her trauma. She ends up telling her friend Eros what happened, and he's very supportive, which makes me so happy because I love Eros. But Persephone is also getting shown around the underworld as part of her internship there, and she recognizes that she has feelings for Hades, and that they get along really well. But then she finds out that Hades has a girlfriend, like this like river nymph or whatever, and a lot of it is just like Hades and Persephone just being adorable, and then alternatively Hades trying to deal with his relationship while having feelings for Persephone, and Persephone trying to deal with her trauma while having feelings for Hades. So it's just like, the only, I would say, complaint that I have is that we get flashbacks sometimes, but we're not told that it's a flashback. You sort of figure it out through context clues in that issue. And so it's a little jarring sometimes where you have to like piece that together of like, wait, what? So like that's kind of my only complaint, but I already know that I really enjoy Olympus. I think it's I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's very creative. I think that Rachel Smythe, I don't know how you pronounce her last name, she brings in just a lot of like different things from Greek mythology that just like makes it really interesting. Like, we did get a little bit of backstory on Eros and Psyche, which I don't know if I've ever talked about it because why would I, but Eros and Psyche's story is like one of my favorite myths. So even though that's not what Olympus is about, it's nice getting to see a little bit of it. So yeah, it was great. I read it about, I want to say like an hour and a half, because it's a graphic novel, so it's very fast. I highly recommend it. I gave it 4.5 stars. And I think, because when I was looking it up yesterday, I think there are now, or going to be soon, 8 volumes. And I only have 4. So I have some collecting to do. But yeah, that was really great. And then I also because I finished Wuthering Heights yesterday, although that was in last week's vlog. Last night I had to go to Chicago, and so on my way home I started listening to Heated Rivals by Reid. Heated Rivals is the second in a series, but I don't think you need to have read the first one, because I haven't. And I'm pretty sure I've seen other people review it to where, like, I'm fairly confident it follows an entirely different couple. You don't necessarily need to have read it. It follows these guys, Ilya Rozanov and Shane... I can't remember his last name. It starts with H. They are professional hockey players on rival teams. They are rivals themselves, but they have a secret situationship going on, and have for like 6 years. So the prologue was in, I want to say, like 2016, and it was, you know, an encounter. Well, it was their hockey game where Shane got really, like, defeated by Ilya, and then they met up later, or they had some spicy time. And then it goes to chapter 1, it goes all the way back from like 2008 when they first met, and then 2009 of like both of them getting drafted by the NHL on different teams. And I think where I am right now is 2010, and they just like had their first hookup. So it's really interesting. I'm really enjoying it. The narrator isn't my favorite, but I am enjoying the writing style. I think it's a really easy read. It's pretty spicy, which I enjoy. So yeah, I'm having a good time. I listened to, I think I'm at like 16%, so because I only listened to like an hour and a half last night. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that. And I already have my next physical book picked out. I'm going to read the short stories of Sholom Aleichem, and we'll see how that goes. So I will let you know when I've read a little bit more. I have not read much. Well, that's not true. I'm halfway through Heated Rivalry. I'm going to put it up, but I need to know what it's called. By Reid. Which one is it? Heated Rivalry. I'm about halfway through. So far, it is a collection of, obviously, like, Shane and Ilya's interactions, and it's through a series of time jumps originally. So we have the prologue that's set in like 2016, and then it went back to like 2008, and then it's, you know, it's almost like snapshots of their interactions and like them entering into this situationship. Now where I am halfway through, we're back in 2016, we're past the prologue point, and the relationship is becoming more of a relationship instead of just like, yeah, we have sex, but otherwise we don't really like each other. It has changed from that. So, and it's interesting because it's Ilya that is sort of leading that of like the relationship morphine, and Shane is just confused. He's just confused the whole time. He's like, what's happening? I kind of like it, but it's weird. So I'm very curious about like what's going to happen next. I should finish the book on Saturday so tomorrow I have to go to work, and then I'm going to temple, and then I'm coming home, and then Saturday I have to go back out to work for like a team bonding event. So I'll have more listening time, so I should finish it Saturday. And I'm really curious, like, are they gonna be like in an actual like relationship? Because they've been in like an 8-year situationship, and while Shane hasn't really, like, he's been with other people, but it's not what he really does. Ilya apparently has been with a lot of people. So it's just, yeah, it's really interesting, but I am enjoying it. Other than that, the only thing that I have read is I started reading the short stories of Sholom Aleichem, and I read the introduction and the first 2 short stories. The first one was, it's about the hat? Yeah. It's about this guy. He's going home to his family for Passover. He's at a train station. He's very tired, and he asks the porter to like wake him up when the train comes. And as he's sleeping, he has this dream about like his hat getting stolen, and then he wakes up and it's not, his hat's not on his head. And he reaches under the bench, he grabs it, but it turns out to be like an officer's hat. And so he doesn't have time, and he just puts it on. And so he is treated very differently because he's wearing this officer's hat. He's very confused by it. And then the other story is about this, not couple, they're not together, but this two people, it's called The Pair. These two people that get kidnapped and like held hostage, and they're treated like fine. But they're held hostage by Jews for Passover, and it's this whole thing of like, we need to fatten them up for Passover. And so I'm just like, that's not what Passover is about. That's not what we do. So, and I'm like, okay, is he like making fun of like the blood libel thing? Which, like, I guess I get. But I'm just like, I'm reading it, I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this story. So there was that. I'm pretty sure, I'm almost positive it was satire, because again, that's not what Passover is about. But it was just such an interesting and jarring thing to read. But I did read it in the introduction, like, Sholom Aleichem, he celebrates being Jewish, but he also utilizes Jewish humor, which is sometimes dark and maybe inappropriate. So I'm like, I'm almost positive that's what's happening, but it was just, I wasn't prepared. So, yeah, but that's really all I've read. I'm hoping to read more today, but we'll see. But either way, I will finish, at least one other book this week. So. Good morning. Well, actually it's afternoon, but that's fine. I finished listening to Heated Rivalry. I really enjoyed it. I know that it is beloved in the like queer hockey community. I don't even know if there is a community, but I know that a lot of people who have read this book really, really enjoy it. They often say that you don't have to read the first book in the series, just read this one. So I do understand why. It was very enjoyable. The relationship between Shane and Ilya was very well done. There were a lot of spicy scenes, which I have no issue with. And yeah, I thought that was very well done. The only issue that I had was like the ending. I felt like the pacing got weird. Like, I felt like there could have been just a lot more to the pacing, and the epilogue area was a little jarring. I mean, I liked it and I thought it made sense. It was just the timing of it was just a little bit odd. I did look more into the series, and there is a second book in the series that also follows Shane and Ilya. So their story is the second one, and then it's continued in the 6th book of the series. So I will try to get my hands on that, at some point. But that's sort of, I don't know. I'm hoping that fixes like the pacing issues that I felt, because I would like more information. But like I said, I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4.5 stars. Thought it was very good. And I also read another, I want to say like 2, maybe 3 short stories from Sholom Aleichem. Trying to think of which ones. I know one of them was about Tevye and how he got his milk cow. So like the beginning of Tevye. So that was fun because I've seen Fiddler on the Roof. I have read the biography of the production of Fiddler on the Roof, but I hadn't read the stories that Fiddler on the Roof is based off of. So I'm trying to think of what other stories. There are other stories, but obviously they didn't make an impression on me. So, but I am going to try to read like maybe one more. I have to go to Chicago, or not to Chicago, I have to go to work tonight for like a team building event. So I don't know how much I will be reading particularly, but I will be starting a new audiobook tonight, and I will be starting with Right Ho Jeeves, which is the Wodehouse book that I have to read this month. So just go ahead and get that knocked out. And we're almost out of audiobooks. So yeah, because besides Right Ho Jeeves, I have one other audiobook on my TBR. So it's about time to play my TBR game again so that I can move on to the next month's audiobooks. But that's the plan. So I will check in and let you know what I thought of Right Ho Jeeves. I'm going to wrap up this vlog, and surprisingly, I finished another book this week. I'm really trying to remember the last time I filmed. Was it Saturday morning? Yes, it was. Okay, so I may have mentioned that I was going back to Illinois on Saturday, which I don't typically do, but I had like a team building event, which was fine. I don't know if it was worth me driving an hour and a half there and an hour and a half back, but that's fine. It did mean that I got halfway through Right Ho Jeeves, and yesterday I had to go to work, which was another hour and a half, and I read 3-ish, 2.5 chapters when, you know, I had some time, so I was able to finish Right Ho Jeeves last night. So yay me. I think that's the fastest, well, no, never mind. I was gonna say I think that's the fastest I've finished an audiobook, but I listened to an audio version of The Importance of Being Earnest last month, and that was only like 4 hours long, so I finished it like that day. But anyway, so Right Ho Jeeves is a Jeeves and Wooster story by P.G. Wodehouse, and in this, Birdie is determined to be the smartest person. He wants to solve everyone's problems. He gets really frustrated that everyone goes to Jeeves, and he thinks that Jeeves is losing his edge. Jeeves is not as smart as he used to be. Which is something. And so there are like 3 separate issues that Birdie is attempting to help out with. One of them is his friend Gussie. His real name is Augustus, but Gussie. Who is kind of a hermit. He really likes newts. It's kind of a weird one. But he fell in love at first sight, of course, with this girl. Oh, I forget her first name. Her last name is Bassett. And so Bird just calls her the Bassett. And she's, I would describe her as very new agey. If that was a thing back then, which I don't think it was. But so Gussie doesn't know how to talk to her or propose to her, so Birdie is going to help him out. And he does that by finding out that the Bassett is at his Aunt Dahlia's country estate, and he and Gussie go there. So that's first problem. Second problem is that his cousin, Angela, is engaged to another friend of Birdie's named Tubby. I found out his first name is Hildebrand, but his nickname is Tubby, which makes no sense and it drives me crazy. They're an awful couple. They should not be together. They're both really crappy people. It's just like, it's not good. All of my notes while I was listening to it, I'm just like, what? No. They're so bad for each other. They get into a fight, and the engagement is called off, and Bertie is trying to help Tuppy win Angela back. So that's problem 2. Problem 3 is his Aunt Dahlia gambled away some of the money that came from her husband that it was supposed to be used for this like society paper that she publishes. She gambled that away when Dahlia, Angela, and Bertie were in, oh crap, where were they? Somewhere in France. They went somewhere for 2 months. And so she gambled that away, and so she has to figure out how to tell her husband about the gambling and request more money to publish this paper. So that's problem number 3. Bertie, he tries really hard, and some of his solutions have some logic, but understandably, it wouldn't be a novel if everything went smoothly. So I will say there were some funny parts of it. I am a little frustrated with the main conflict between Jeeves and Wooster is always about like clothing. It's just, I don't know. Like I get it, but it's just a little annoying. So like there was this like running conflict between the two of them about this jacket that Bertie really liked and Jeeves disapproves of. So there was that. It wasn't as prevalent as it has been in other stories, but it's just like, okay, this is a reoccurring thing, and it's just like, I don't know, it's just a little annoying. And then also the ending bothered me because of course predictably Jeeves sort of swooped in and helped everyone else. Don't know if we could say he helped Bertie, but that's okay. So yeah, I already know that my dad really didn't like this story. He has a huge issue with Jeeves and how like manipulative he is, which I get. So we're recording the podcast next weekend, so that should be fun. For once, I may not be the angriest person on the recording, but I didn't mind it. It was just, it felt kind of repetitive to me. So I gave it 3.5 stars. Definitely not my favorite Jeeves and Wooster story. I think there are ones that are way better, but it was fine. To me, it was mostly inoffensive. So, but yeah, that's really it. That's all I read. But I'm very proud of myself for finishing that audiobook. I got it taken care of. I got it done ahead of schedule. So now I can just focus on my reading for the rest of the month, and that'll be great. So if you like this video, please leave a comment, like the video, subscribe, click notification bell, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.